The unbreakable old man. A reckoning in Brooksville. It was a peaceful afternoon in the quiet little town of Brooksville. The sun hung high, its golden rays stretching long shadows over the modest houses that lined the sleepy streets. The air was still, filled with nothing but the occasional chirp of birds and the distant hum of a passing car. On the porch of one of those houses sat John Harris, a man of 93 years, yet carrying a presence stronger than most in town. His hands, though weathered with age, remained steady as he lifted a cup of steaming coffee to his lips. His piercing eyes, sharp as ever, stayed fixed on the horizon. There was something about the way he sat, calm, unwavering, that hinted at a past deeper and darker than anyone in Brooksville could ever imagine. But that peace, it wasn't meant to last. A low, distant growl shattered the afternoon silence. The unmistakable rumble of engines. Loud, unapologetic, familiar. John didn't even blink. He had heard that sound before, too many times to count. And just as he expected, within moments, they appeared, Rex and his gang. The bikers tore through the street, their engines roaring like wild beasts announcing their arrival. With no regard, they skidded to a halt right in front of John's house, their tires kicking up dust. Laughter erupted as they hopped off their bikes, boots thudding against the ground like a war drum. Leading them was Rex, a towering brute of a man, draped in leather, his arms covered in ink threats, and a sneer permanently etched on his lips. The rest of his gang followed, their arrogant smirks mirroring their leaders. Well, look who it is. Rex's voice dripped with mockery as he swaggered forward, his hands resting lazily on his belt. Our favorite grandpa. The gang chuckled, their laughter filling the space where silence once ruled. John remained still, unshaken, his face a mask of indifference. "Oh, what's wrong, old man?" Rex stepped closer, pretending to pout. "Cat got your tongue?" Still, John didn't react. That made Rex's sneer widen. He reached out, knocking the coffee cup from John's grip. The porcelain shattered against the wooden porch, the dark liquid staining the planks. The gang roared with laughter, but John, he simply glanced at the broken cup, then back up at Rex, his gaze calm, calculated. "You've had your fun." John finally spoke, his voice steady, quiet, but firm. "Now leave." Rex smirked. "Oh, we're just getting started." He leaned in, his voice a low growl. "What are you going to do about it, old-timer? Call the cops? Go ahead. I'll be out in an hour, tops." John's expression never changed. He simply met Rex's gaze, his voice unwavering. "I'm not calling the cops." That made Rex pause, just for a split second. Confusion flickered across his face before he scoffed. "Oh, yeah." He crossed his arms, amused. "Then who are you calling?" John exhaled slowly as he pushed himself up from his chair. His joints creaked, but when he stood his full height, he was still taller than Rex by a couple of inches. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out an old flip phone. "I'm making one call," John said, his voice low. "And when I do, you're all going to wish you never set foot on my lawn." For the first time, Rex hesitated. It was brief, barely noticeable, but John saw it. Then, with a forced chuckle, Rex shook his head. "Yeah? And who you gonna call?" "Ghostbusters." His gang laughed, their arrogance returning. John said nothing. He simply pressed a button, and the phone started to ring. Rex watched, intrigued, his smirk unwavering. The bikers snickered, exchanging glances, amused by what they assumed was the senile delusions of an old man. But something about the way John stood, calm, collected, utterly unbothered, began to gnaw at Rex. "Who's on the other end, huh?" Rex taunted, stepping closer. "Your bingo buddies? Let me guess, they're coming to scare us off?" Still, John remained silent. Annoyed, Rex snatched the phone from his hand. "Let's see who you're bothering." But before he could hang up, a voice answered. John's lips curled into the faintest smirk. "Ethan," he said, his tone eerily calm. "It's time. Activate the protocol." Rex frowned. "Protocol?" He scoffed, shaking his head. "What kind of—" John's gaze never wavered. "You'll find out soon enough." For a moment, the yard fell into an uneasy silence. Rex tossed the phone back, tried to regain control of the situation. You're just an old man with nothing left. I don't care who you think you are. We run this town. John only smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a friendly one. A knowing smile. Minutes passed. Then, buzz. John glanced at his phone. A message. He opened it, his eyes scanning the screen. Rex, growing impatient, snatched the phone again, and what he saw made his smirk fade. Target locked. Phase 1 initiated. What the hell is this? Rex spat, his grip tightening. John didn't respond. He simply turned, walking back inside his house, leaving Rex standing there, fuming, confused, and suddenly unsettled. That night, Rex's phone buzzed. He grabbed it, expecting another meaningless text, only to freeze. Your account has been temporarily frozen due to suspicious activity. What? He frantically checked another account, then another. Frozen. Every single one. Panic set in. Calls to the bank led to vague explanations. His gang members? They were experiencing the same thing. Accounts locked. Credit cards declined. One by one, their lives were unraveling. Meanwhile, John sat in his dimly lit living room, eyes on his computer screen. Ethan's voice crackled through the speaker. They're feeling it now, Ethan reported. Every account is flagged. By tomorrow, they won't be able to buy a pack of gum without raising a red flag. John nodded. Good work. His voice was calm, but his eyes, they burned with determination. But we're not finished yet. The next morning, chaos erupted at the gang's clubhouse. Some of Rex's men had been arrested overnight, outstanding warrants, unpaid fines. And then, screech. Unmarked cars rolled up. Suits stepped out. FBI, stay where you are. Rex stood frozen. His world, his empire, was crumbling. And in his mind, only one name remained. John. Harris. Back at the porch, John sipped his coffee, this time uninterrupted. His phone rang. Ethan, they got Rex. John simply nodded. Good, but we're not done yet. Because this was just the beginning. Wait for part 2 in next video.